Yes, there are some negative species out there, but a majority of them are very positive, and the negative ones have already infiltrated our government. So we're at a standoff with them right now. It's not something that's coming in new to try and take over the planet. We have a lot of benevolent beings who are watching over us and working on clearing out these malicious forces that have really infiltrated and corrupted our governments. So right now we're at like a big purging process. We're getting rid of all of this corruption. And yeah, I would just be mindful of fear-based narratives because I think we're heading in a positive direction, but they will try to set up these false flags to sway public perception and turn it into something dark. Hi, my name is Lily Nova. I am a contactee. I'm also a clairvoyant psychic. I have had contact with UFOs since COVID lockdown back in 2020. I started off as a space photographer, and that's while I was out photographing and filming the night sky is when UFOs started showing up. And and then they started teaching me things, and I developed a relationship and a communication with these otherworldly beings. I would say my most memorable moment with these extraterrestrials. At this point, I had already been communicating with them and seeing their ships for about 6 months. When they first appeared, that was also very memorable, though, because I had very close contact experiences with their ships. But as telepathy developed and I developed a relationship with them, about 6 months in, I had a very beautiful sort of spiritual feeling experience with them where I felt all of this love. And the being who I'd been communicating with, her name is Talia, and she is a light blue being with no hair, but she looks human besides the light blue skin and no hair. And she was wearing a silver skin tight uniform. At this particular night, they appeared to me, and I could see them all in the sky, all of these different ETs. And I had an experience where my perception shifted and I just felt an expansion in my perspective and my heart. And this being told me that she was actually me from the future. So that was a big shock for me and took me a little bit to wrap my head around that this being that I was communicating with was actually me. I do feel like humanity is at a bit of a crossroads right now, and that's some of the galactic messages I've been getting also is humanity has to choose. And there is what's known as this timeline split or timeline bifurcation process where we can go and we can ascend and we can co-create the new earth and raise in frequency and in consciousness, or we can descend and choose war and poverty and hatred and destruction. There's a lot of prophecies about this. The Hopi prophecies talk about this, but they also talk about a figure coming in and helping to purify the planet, a sign in the sky, which I believe was Three-Eye Atlas, that will help mark a remembrance to help people start to remember and awaken. So I believe we're also living in very prophetic times where humanity is starting to wake up rapidly. But yes, we also have a choice. Internally, every single one of us is making a choice. Do we want to be better and ascend, or do we want to devolve? So we are kind of at this crossroads. Same thing happened with Atlantis. Atlantis chose to descend and it was destroyed. Now, I don't think we're going to repeat that same mistake. I think we are here correcting that. How do I view the possibility of false disclosure events or engineered light shows? So I think that is definitely a possibility. We saw something similar when 2025 first hit back in January in the United States. There were these drones that started appearing, but then there were also real craft that started appearing. So it's like, and the government was silent about it for a while. It was like, oh, we don't know what these are. I think that was a psychological operation. I think they were testing how humans were going to react to that. And I think also they were kind of muddying the waters by mixing in drones or uh, not real extraterrestrial craft to hide the real extraterrestrial craft that we are also seeing. I believe NASA just sent out UFO saucer shaped satellites also. They just launched those on December 19th. So that could be another way to confuse people because they're seeing what they think is a UFO when really it's a man-made craft. So discernment's super important right now. I think they are trying to kind of muddy the waters and so for people who are having a genuine experience who really see these craft, which a lot of the time they can be like lights or plasma, they look different. They could be orbs of light. They do not follow our same laws of physics. But we have a lot of like copycats from the military and human factions that just try to confuse people. So I think that's definitely a possibility, and people need to have discernment at this time because the governments who don't want open disclosure are trying to sway the narrative, and they might even try to make it fear-based, like an alien invasion, like something that we have to worry about. So I would be very mindful of any fear-based narratives. They're just trying to get ahead of it. And yes, there are some negative species out there, but a majority of them are very positive, and the negative ones have already infiltrated our government. So we're at a standoff with them right now. It's not something that's coming in new to try and take over the planet. We have a lot of benevolent beings who are watching over us and working on clearing out these malicious forces that have really infiltrated and corrupted our governments. So right now we're at like a big purging process. We're getting rid of all of this corruption. And yeah, I would just be mindful of fear-based narratives because I think we're heading in a positive direction, but they will try to set up these false flags to sway public perception and turn it into something dark. When tuning into 2026, I saw 2026 as a big transitional year where we're going to have a lot of disclosures that are coming out slowly through different public figures, celebrities, whistleblowers, experiencers, people coming forward, and some of these major catalyst events. But I felt it's very much a transitional year leading towards open contact and full disclosure. So it's a bit of a process. I do feel like in the very beginning of 2026, we're probably going to get some pretty big events that shake things up. I do feel like we have we're on the verge of something. And if you look back at 2025, when 2025 started, that's whenever all of the drones appeared in the sky and everybody was freaking out about that. So, 2026 might start off with a bang. Overall, I feel 2026 is about having an internal shift within, spiritual awakening, and a lot of progress with people starting to awaken and more people being contacted by angels or their star family, more people seeing these craft because it can't stay hidden for much longer. The veil is becoming more and more thin. And as our frequency rises and our consciousness expands, we are more of a frequency match for these sort of experiences. So we might see it start to get a little bit messy as some of the shadows and things that have been hidden come up to the surface to be shined a light on, and that's just a part of the process. But we're leading towards a really, really good place. Some of the other things that I saw while tuning into 2026 was underground civilizations, bases, ruins, ancient ruins starting to come to the surface, specifically in the oceans. So keep an eye on the oceans. I'm sensing like Bimini, the Bermuda Triangle. They just found a structure underwater in the Bermuda Triangle. I was also picking up on the Baltic Sea and other locations around the world. So more of this ancient history starting to come to the surface. And these ruins are not just ruins, they're actually advanced technology. So that's going to help humanity come to terms with there have been advanced civilizations on this planet before. We were once an advanced civilization, but there was basically like a reset and humanity restarted. So that's going to be a really important part of disclosure and a really important part of us moving forward. The sun has recently been doing some very interesting things that I believe is helping to propel us into our ascension. So recently, some of the messages that I've been receiving from the galactics, also from psychically tuning into the field, was that the magnetics of the earth are shifting. And the sun is also releasing all of these massive solar storms, solar flares, which is interacting with our consciousness and helping to activate and upgrade our DNA. Scientists say that 95% of our DNA is junk DNA, when that's not the case. It's just dormant and it has all of this potential, all of these gifts and abilities. So the sun and the solar energies and the frequencies from that are actually helping to activate us to raise our frequency, raise our consciousness, and help us to develop these gifts and abilities like healing gifts and abilities, eventually telepathy, which we can do that now. Some people are activating that now, and that will become more of a common thing. You know, you already get a gut feeling. You get that feeling, so that intuition is starting to grow, and also the veil is thinning through this process. As the magnetic poles are shifting and the magnetics of the earth are shifting, we're starting to move into more of a course correcting ascension timeline. We're stabilizing that. So, when the fall of Atlantis happened in the precession of the equinox, the earth was knocked off and everything just got wacky. So now it's shifting back from my understanding, and it's going to help activate the planet's chakra system, these sacred sites around the planet that are actually ancient technology and could eventually lead to free energy across the entire planet, like these pyramids. That's actually technology. So I believe the Earth is correcting itself right now. So these shifts are really good. But also, we're sort of in a pressure cooker right now because we're getting blasted with all of these higher frequencies in this solar plasma, and it's causing all of the density to bubble up to the surface within us individually, as well as within the planet. So that's why we're having some earthquakes, we're having some volcanoes that are erupting, some of these natural geological shifts that are occurring. So we'll probably see more of that as the planet is shifting and releasing this density and shifting into stabilizing this higher timeline and higher frequency. The energy of the winter solstice is pretty profound because it is like a portal, it is like a window. The astrological alignment is perfect for being able to see more through the veil, for psychic senses to come online, for you to have more of these spiritual experiences, and also to experience a quantum leap. So, a big shift, a personal shift where you can set new goals and intentions. But specifically, the winter solstice is also known as a time of deep introspection and reflection. So, releasing and letting go of what no longer serves you. And then you can kind of end old timelines, old stories, old patterns. Those are coming to a close. And then you shift into a totally new beginning. And that's perfect timing for 2026. It's a new year, so it's fresh energy. So, it's a really powerful time for third eye activation, psychic abilities, powerful experiences, and also powerful and profound transformations. I feel like since the veil is already very thin, more of these portals and interdimensional highways kind of bleed through onto the planet. So you can more easily interact with the spiritual realm and these other worlds. But really, it's the astrological alignment, which is putting the planet in a very heightened state. So even the astrological alignment itself is sort of a portal where you can shift into a new reality. So that's what makes it a very profound time for personal transformation. You can literally shift and change and co-create the reality that you want. It's just easier. It's a very fast manifesting time. So you can manifest very quickly during this energetic gateway. So we are actually all co-creating the new earth right now. And it really does come down to frequency and our perception, our belief systems. What are we collectively manifesting? What are we collectively creating? We are learning to be master manifestors and co-creators as we step into our divine potential and who we truly are and begin to remember this, remember our gifts and abilities. So, as we are mastering this, you don't have to be perfect. We're all learning this as we go. Things are starting to manifest more quickly. You'll start to notice more instant feedback from the universe. If you do something that's out of alignment, you're going to feel it. The universe is going to let you know. You might start to have a hard time. You're just not a frequency match for that. So the universe is going to keep showing you, and you might really just have all of these bad things that start to happen because you have to shift. You're doing something that's not in alignment. So getting rid of all of those things not in alignment. Also, you'll get more instant feedback from the universe when you do something that is in alignment. Suddenly, more people are drawn to you, healthier, happier relationships. It could even come in abundance or signs and synchronicities from your guides, repeating numbers, things like that. Positive things, good luck that starts to happen. So we're going to start experiencing more rapid feedback and even instant karma from the universe as our frequency is rising and as we are co-creating the new earth. Also, as we're co-creating the new earth and shifting up our frequency, like I was saying before, a lot of these old systems are crumbling. So we're starting to put new systems into place. I believe there's going to be a new financial system, and we're going to start seeing movement on that in 2026, a more quantum financial system that is more beneficial to all of humanity. That just being one example. Changes in the school system, education, government, things like that. All of those things are going to start manifesting on the planet as we raise our frequency.